Hello there, my name is Bob, more commonly known as TopshelfTreats, and I play games with my friends NCKKSS and Pangerboy, and we play in We Wear Pants. So Baldur's Gate 2 is a game that I remember from my childhood very well. I think I remember doing the opening dungeon quite a few times and never really progressing past that. I remember it very fondly, but I kind of think I was quite terrible at it when I think back. It's a game that I wanted to play properly, so I'm finally taking that opportunity now, and I'm going to try and do a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 2. I've noticed there's 3 here. I'm not too sure what Black Pits 2 is, but I would like to play Shadows of Arm, and then hopefully if everything's going well, then I would like to go on and play Throne of Baal 2. I've also bought Icewind Dale because that's a game that I remember playing a demo of when I was a kid, and I would like to replay it. So in terms of Dungeons & Dragons, I played a little bit when I was younger, never really taken it too seriously, but I've dug out my old Player's Handbook and my old Dungeon Master's Guide from back, like I say, when I was a child. I've had a little read through, and I'm excited to get going. So yeah, let's go for it.
You spent your youth in the library fortress of Candlekeep, under the kind tutelage of your foster father Gorion. Imoen shared this home, a kindred spirit. Her background was as mysterious as your own. Gorion's murder brought answers to your questions when his killer Saravok was revealed to be your brother. You and Saravok were a product of the Time of Troubles, a chaotic period when gods were made flesh and forced to walk the earth. One such deity foresaw his own death and walked the land before the cataclysm. He left a score of mortal offspring, intended to be the fuel for his rebirth. The god was Baal, Lord of Murder, and you are one of his children. Saravok sought a war of sacrifice to prove his worth, believing he could become the new Lord of Murder. You killed your brother, sending his taint back to Baal. You were the hero of Baldur's Gate, but some suspected you shared the same lineage as Saravok. You departed soon after, under circumstances much darker than anyone would have believed. They came as you rested, figures cloaked in mist that clouded your thoughts, blurring the lines between consciousness and dreaming. There was no malice or hatred, no mention of an old score, only quick capture and the promise of grim deeds to come.
Well, there you have it. I mean, in terms of intros, wow, bloody awesome. Cool. So, oh my word, you can do multiplayer as well. Didn't know that. So, single player, new game. Now, I have tinkered around a little bit the last few days playing Little Heroes, just trying to get a feel for the game again, and once again redoing the starting dungeon, so I'm excited to get past it this time. But we will go for a new game, and we'll go straight into the characters. So my gender, I'm going to be male. Okay, in terms of portraits, this will kind of give an idea of the race that I'm kind of intending to play. I'm just going to use one of the stock ones. I'm not too fast on getting a custom one in. It's pretty good. He looks evil though. We'll go with this. Okay, so I'm guessing from that you might know that the race I want to play is a dwarf. Now, I've been reading quite a lot of the Marcus Heights dwarfs books at the moment, and anyone who's seen stuff that I've done before on this channel, I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and I played dwarves in that as well. They're just the best race. So as it says here, in terms of actual attributes that they gain, I'm gaining +2 bonus to saving throws versus paralysis, poison and death, versus rod, staff and wand, and versus spell, with additional bonuses based on my constitution. I gain infravision, and I would love to know exactly what it is that I'm saying at the moment, but like I say, I'm a big D&D novice, and I'm hoping that as I play this I will learn a lot more. And 10% open locks, 15% find traps, 5% detect illusion, and 10% set traps. Now, in previous playthroughs that I've done, and the ones that I've been playing recently, I've been playing more fighter roles. So I've been playing a berserker as a dwarf, and I think I'll probably carry on doing that as another playthrough. But on this one, I want to do something a little bit different and something that I've never done before, and something that I think will test me quite mechanically. So yeah, it will force me to learn more, and it will force me to become a better player. So I'm quite happy with that. I do like the idea of halflings, but nowhere near as much as dwarves, so we'll go with this. And this is where it comes to class. So like I say, on my other playthroughs that I'm doing, I have been playing a berserker, which is great because I'm using the rage abilities, which basically makes me immune to charm, confusion, fear, feeble mind, hold, imprisonment, level drain, which is huge, maze, stun, and sleep. However, I want something a little bit different. What I do like about the berserker is that I can use any item. So I find helmets, I can use them. I find warhammers. Now, warhammers and axes for me and dwarves, they go so well together. It's canon. But I'm going for something a little different this time, and I fancy playing a thief. So there is here the fighter thief, which is a dual class where you get all the benefits of a fighter and all the benefits of a thief. However, because a fighter can use all weapons and helmets and all armor, which is great, but if you want access to your thief side of things, then you can't wear anything heavier than studded leather, you can't use any weapons which aren't on here if you want to do backstabs. Now I've read somewhere that backstabs lose their effectiveness the higher you go, so I'm not too worried about not having backstab. But little things like the ability to wear armor would be great, but I think it's going to be lots of chopping and changing if you want to wear anything heavier. Then when you want to do your thief checks, you have to take it off, and it all gets a little bit faffy. So I'm going to look in the actual thief one itself, and we have thief, assassin, bounty hunter, swashbuckler, and shadow dancer. Now I should say my intention for this playthrough, I want it to be more RP focused and not necessarily just take the parties that I'm given and go with that and, you know, play through and enjoy the story. That's grand, but that's what I'm doing in my other playthrough. In this one I want it to be a little bit different. So I think I'm going to play a character which isn't necessarily what I go for in terms of alignment. So it's not going to be, oh yeah, I'll do that, and be good. He's actually going to be chaotic neutral. So it's more does what he wants. He's a free spirit. So with that in mind, and the fact that I want to play a dwarf, I'm going to take straight from the player's handbook, where it says that dwarves get along well with other dwarves and gnomes, but outside of that, they're not too trusting of other races. And I think, as we've just seen from the story before, lots of shit's gone down on me, and I'm going to be even more non-trusting of anyone. And that's the way I kind of want to play it. I'm going to be out for my own good. I'll hold grudges. I'm going to be hot-headed. If someone goes out to actively try and kill me, then you know what? I'm going to actively try and kill them back. And if people threaten me, etc., then I'm going to be quick to react. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out of my way to just kill everyone. So I think that's quite a nice way to play it. In the books that I mentioned, the Marcus Heights books, there's a character called Boandil who is he's got a heart of fire, so he can be absolutely normal, but then suddenly something happens and it can spark him, and then boom, off he goes. He won't stop until he's killed. So kind of like that idea, and I like the idea of being this somewhat chaotic neutral, so it really can spark, and it allows me to, like I say, hold grudges. So it may end up, I'm not saying it will, but it may end up with me playing quite a lot of this solo without a party. I don't know, as I say, I haven't really played past the first dungeon, so I may meet dwarves along the way who want to join my party, and as long as everything goes down well, then I can see them joining the party for a bit. But it's not necessarily going to stay with them or anything like that, but I'd say it would have to be dwarves or gnomes that he would pay attention to, and I would only help them to help myself, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I'm not actively going out to ruin the game and do exactly what I want to do. I will obviously let things impact me, but yeah, put it this way, I'm not going to help an elf. That's as simple as it goes. So I think out of these we have Shadow Dancer, whose main ability is this Shadow Step, so they can step into the Shadow Plane and move for 7 seconds while others are frozen in time. Shadow Dancer cannot attack or cast spells while in the Shadow Plane. For someone who wants to play solo, that sounds amazing. We have Assassin, who uses poison weapons. Bounty Hunter. So I think, if I'm right, all thieves can use this set snare, which is setting a trap, and then you have the enemies run towards you, and boom, 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 hopefully they all die. And I think Bounty Hunters get an extra one as well. So once per day, in addition to the Thief's set snare, they gain this special snare, and you gain 1 use at level 1 and an additional use every 5 levels thereafter. And this does more damage. This is 3d8 plus 5 at first level, and this one is 2d8 plus 5. So, I mean, this seems really good for tactical play, having 2 traps, and I think this was really appealing to me. And then it came down to Swashbuckler as well, which is +1 bonus to AC at first level, plus an additional +1 bonus every 5 levels, +1 bonus to hit damage rolls every 5 levels, and may specialise 2 slots in any melee weapon. I believe Bounty Hunter can only specialise 1. Yeah, 1 slot in. So the Swashbuckler feels more like a fighter. It feels like a fighter thief that's not a fighter thief. It feels like a solo class as opposed to a dual class. And the Bounty Hunter feels like it's more about the traps, which is fine. It still gets backstab, and that's the downside to Swashbuckler. I don't have backstab, but what I do gain is the ability to stand toe to toe with people a little bit more. I think Bounty Hunter might be somewhat easier for me, I guess, but I just like the idea of being a Swashbuckler. I like the idea of having that fighter spirit still and not relying totally on my traps, and I'm sacrificing the backstab ability, but that's that, you know, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. So I'm going to go with Swashbuckler. Like I say, I don't know any of these, but Swashbuckler seems great. In terms of alignment, like I say, I've mentioned this before. From reading the cool rulebook, I'm going to go with Chaotic Neutral, which says here, chaotic neutral characters believe that there is no order to anything, including their own actions. With this as a guiding principle, they tend to follow whatever whim strikes them at that moment. Good and evil are irrelevant when making a decision. Chaotic neutral characters are extremely difficult to deal with. Such characters have been known to cheerfully and for no apparent purpose gamble away everything they have on the single roll of a die. They are almost totally unreliable. In fact, the only reliable thing about them is that they cannot be relied upon. This alignment is perhaps the most difficult to play. That scares me a little bit, but lunatics and madmen tend towards chaotic neutral behaviour. Now, the way I'm going to play this is, like I say, I'm going to be hot-headed, I'm going to be quite, I guess, racist, and be out for myself. I kind of think if I'm going to go around pickpocketing people, etc., then I can't really be that good. And I quite like the idea of this, that suddenly, out of nowhere, I may just have had enough with a human in my party, and off they go. So I might not be playing it perfectly true to this, and D&D aficionados may be a bit annoyed at the fact that I may differ in my alignment, but this is how I understand it and how I'm going to play it. So cool. And so abilities. Now, like I say, I'm not D&D through and through, so this role here, I don't mind taking a couple of extras and trying to get the right stats for me. I'm not actually too sure as to what my stats should be, so but we will go, and I'm not worried too much about making this a higher roll. So I know I can get higher than 80. There's an 82 there. I would like, to be honest, I would like an 85 plus. And if there's an 83 there, I went straight past it. If you notice that the video skips here, you know why. Cool. So as if by magic, the next one that I clicked was an 88. So we'll go with that, I think. So I'm trying to think. I think I want max strength. Sorry, I can drop my intelligence here. I don't think I need all this intelligence. So I can go max strength, which is 18. And I can go max dexterity, which is 17. In terms of wisdom, I don't think I need all of this. I want max constitution, which is 19. So 17, 18, 19, 19. There you go. No points to play with there. Charisma. I'm not going to be the most charismatic person. Let's be honest. I'm a dwarf rogue. So that's fine. And normally I think charisma, if I'm right, is trying to get yourself better prices and things. Whereas ultimately I'm probably going to try and steal a lot of stuff. So I probably don't need it. 1 point to play with. Intelligence. 11, wisdom 12. Because I don't like the odd numbers here, I'm going to go... No, I'll go 13. I'm going to stick with the odd numbers. I think wisdom is more important than intelligence. I'm not too sure. But, like I say, very new to it all. This might not work, and I might end up having to have a big party to keep me going and keep me alive. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. So that is fine for me. I will say done to that. Now in terms of skills, I have 4 proficiency slots to fill. Okay, so I like the idea of 2 weapons. Oh right, so I can put 3 in there. That's cool. So I'll put 2 in for now. And I know, so like I said before, for me, dwarves should use axes or warhammers, and that is it. That is their weapons, and that is what I am playing on my warrior. or my fighter, sorry. But because I am a thief, I can't use those. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to use swords, I believe, and that's fine. I don't mind it too much. I mean, if we look at things like The Hobbit, dwarves are using swords in that, so you know, it's not too much of a stretch of the imagination. I like the idea of actually fighting toe to toe as opposed to ranged, so I'm going to go with 2 weapon style, and I'm going to put 2 into longswords. Putting 2 into longswords basically means the character receives a +1 to hit and a +2 to damage. So that is great. And by having 2 points into weapon style, the wielder's penalties are reduced to 0. So I would incur a -4 penalty to attack rolls if I didn't do this, and a -8 with my offhand, whereas I put it down to 0 and I have a -4 with my offhand. Still not ideal. I would like to have 3, but that will come with my next proficiency point, I guess. And here we go. This is where it's important. So pickpockets, the rogue uses ability filtering small items from other people's pockets, sleeves, girdles, packs and so on. With a greater skill, a talented rogue can even snatch larger items, including weapons and certain articles of clothing. Now, this game isn't an MMO, so I guess lots of things are pre-scripted, but I do like the idea of being able to walk around and just nick stuff out of people's out their pockets. So we will pop a nice amount of points into this, I think. If I go to potentially 60. Now I don't know if these are percentages or we will see, but so some of the really important things to have are open locks. So a thief uses this ability to pick padlocks, door locks and combination locks. So I'm guessing very important to have. So I'm going to put that at 70. Find traps. Again, dungeoneering is going to be super important, I guess. Put it at 60. Move silently. A character uses this ability without making a sound. Now, I'm not playing an assassin. I am playing a swashbuckler, so I don't think it's particularly as important. Using this ability, a character can disappear into the shadows or any other type of concealment, bushes, curtains or crannies. So that's hide in shadows, detect illusion, set traps. So I mean, I want lots of points in set traps. A thief's skill in disarming traps allow him to create snares of his own. So I want to be able to set good traps. So I guess 60. That's going to be where a lot of my damage is coming from. If I can kill stuff before it gets to me, great. Open locks, find traps, move silently, hide in shadows. It's probably going to be needed. I mean, I would love to pickpocket up to this. I'd love to put this at 75. Find traps should probably be higher. 70, 70. Set traps should probably be 70. Hide in the shadows. Using this ability, a character can disappear. Now, I don't know if that is stealth. Find traps 70, 70, 75. Move silently. I don't think I need detect illusion as such. Set traps. Find traps. Probably 75. And open locks should probably be higher, I would have thought. Probably not ideal. It's probably not the best. But again, this is what I'm going to go with for now. So I apologise if you are quite literally screaming at the moment. Oh, I don't know if anyone will be screaming, but if it's not right, you know, this is fine. This is a first playthrough. I don't know if I'm too happy with that. I might be able to change it post this, but we'll see. So I'm a chaotic neutral dwarf swashbuckler. Easy to go, 2 weapon style and fighting with longswords. So in terms of appearance, I guess it does look quite right. It does look quite right. My hair, I want to go reasonably dark with it, I think. Skin colour. These things don't matter too much. Do I mind this? I say these things don't matter, and then I spend time tweaking and playing with it. But that's just the way I am. So, yeah, we'll go with this. Done. Okay, name. Oh, ooh, not name. Sound.
Ah! No one is more worthy.
Let's do this quick and painful. I'll get the job done, whether leader or not.
This guy sounds quite good. I like him.
To battle with no regrets.
To battle and victory.
To battle and victory!
I think this most fits with the style of play that I want to do.
Let's do this quick and painful.
Doesn't sound that dwarfy though.
I'll get the job done, whether leader or not.
Screw it. Done. Name. Now I know I play under TopshelfTreats, but a lot of the side projects and things that I'm working on at the moment, I use Boone. So I'm actually going to go with that because I like that name. So done. And do you know what? Scarily, I think we're ready to start. Okay, so difficulty. I am going to stay normal, I think. Like I say, it's the first time I've actually played this game through, especially outside of the first dungeon, and I've never played a thief or anything like that, so I'm going to stick with this. I think you can tweak it in the game, so if I find it too easy, I will up it. If I find it too hard, I will down it, but we'll go with normal. So enemies deal 25% less damage, party members cannot permanently die, hit points are maximised, and spells can be copied into spellbooks without failure. Cool. Right, so let's go.